can feel it changing me, and I'm letting go. I don't think I'm ever getting sober now. Comfort in your kisses is a crutch I found. The goosebumps on my skin, I see through, you're my medicine. I need you as we start to spin and fall back down. And now I'll never get the thoughts of you out. I'm haunted in the waters I drown. Feel the overflow.
Hello, friends. What is up? Long time, long time no see. Long time no see. Hope everyone's been good. Hope everyone's been surviving. Hello, Joe. Hello, Carter, Bree. What else we got in here? Pat. All my favorites. This was kind of a surprise stream. I didn't have this like planned long term, but I really want to stream more regularly, and I have some things planned actually with actually a couple of people in the chat. Um, a future kind of fun debate stream that will be a template for anyone to use, and it'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun stuff. Maybe I'll show a clip of like what I have in mind for this show. It's the brainchild of this show is a sports show, but it won't be about sports. So it's going to be strictly politics. But should be a fun time. And I just want to get out here more because I just feel like sometimes there's a lot of stuff going on in the world and there's so much time to talk about it. Late at night, I'm like a night owl, so um it's a good time to kind of go over stuff. Don't distract me. Don't make fun of me. How dare you? Um but yeah, I hope everyone's been good. Hope everyone's been taking care of each other. Hey, Joe, did you have a event today? Was that today? The trivia event? I was like not around. I don't know if that was today or not. I want next week. Boom, I'll be there. All right, cool, sweet. All right, cool. Next week. All right, sweet. That works out perfectly. Um, yeah, I was worried because like this week I was kind of not around, but next week sounds perfect. And I love seeing like people doing events and like having their own like Bridge has their Epsom library thing going on, which is fucking amazing. I love seeing that. I love seeing people um trivia. Okay, so you had trivia tonight. Okay, see, I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. See, I pay attention. I pay attention. How dare you? How dare you guys doubt me? Unbelievable. I got a cool. So I set up this stream deck that I just got, which I can just like switch back and forth. I don't have to click around anymore. I can just like jump scare. Jump scare. Yeah, fuck you guys. Whatever. All right, so let's hey Matt, Matt, what's up? Welcome. We have stream decks at the store, I think. I got this one from there. I think we have one or two more. These are very cool. You guys are lucky I'm a procrastinator and didn't set up whatchamacallit. I didn't set up like a soundboard on here to really like piss you guys off. So for today, we're just gonna do a jump scare. All right. No, that's Matt. That's Matt. Matt from my hometown, Pelham. I think I think uh shut up. Who you know what? Serious now. I'm gonna have to open this up. You should see my how dare you? How how dare you? This is I come alive in the nighttime, like maybe a little bit earlier, but I I bump heads with Hassan, like that's my target audience. And he's like going up until around this time. I'll go like an hour before. You go an hour before him or something. But I would like to go more often. That's my only issue right now. I'm not going regularly. That's how you like build like kind of, a following. And I just feel like right now New Hampshire's like really doing well on the Yes, exactly. It's an area of the day that like not everyone can do it. Some people are old as fuck and go to bed like my cousin does. You can't stay up past 9 p.m. So but some people can. You know, not all heroes wear capes here. All right, so all right, let's fucking move on to the stream, okay? I'm already sick of you guys. I'm already sick of doing this. Unbelievable. All right, so big deal, big deal in 5 days, right? We have local and town elections. Obviously, if you've been watching, hi Christy, yeah, Christy's here. Oh, Marissa's here. Hi, Marissa. Hi, everyone. Oh shit, the pressure's on now. Some real famous people in here. So, big elections coming up. First thing I want to say is shout out to a couple of people that are running for different offices that we know. Actually, Mackenzie is running, I believe, for school board. Christy is running, I believe. I just saw that TikTok somewhere, right? Remind me if I'm wrong. I think Christy. Hell yeah, Christy. Christy, what are you running for? Tell us. What are you running for? Hold on. Let me see if I can. Ethics committee, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I love that. And then our friend from the Sullivan County Countdown, is that the account name? Anna? Hold on one second. Have her. Ah, yes. Anna O'Hara. Anna O'Hara. Newport Candidate School Board. Okay. It's like the Sullivan County Countdown. Breakdown. Yeah. Anna for Newport. She is awesome. Okay. If I was running for office, honestly, she's one of those people who's like developed such a niche for herself. Like she talks about education, you know, just the education in New Hampshire. And if I was running for office, like for some type of federal office or even, you know, I would really tap into her. Like she would be my education person at this point, you know, if I had to make that decision right now, randomly. And yes, Ken's school board in Nottingham, big ups to people in the community that are running for office. It starts with you guys. It starts with all of us, you know. I'm really proud of you guys. And big ups to my cousin, Amanda, who's also in the chat, who went to some town board meetings today. Very proud of her doing that. And I think these things are all, you know, before we get into like some of these some of the details, you know, so talking about some of these things, I think these are all such positive signs of like the community and it's spread, right? It's like it's contagious and it's worldwide. Okay, something actually, you know what, just reminded me, we're going to talk about it at some point towards the end of this, but there was an election in England that is not getting a lot of play here, which, you know, the Green Party won a district that had been under their democratic, if it was like a, you know, a Democrat rule for like 100 years, and the progressive knocked them out, knocked them into third place. These things happen in waves worldwide. Like as much as you felt like there was like maybe a fascistic movement happening worldwide, leftist movements and social movements happen worldwide too. And there's a reason why a lot of us don't hear that news coming here, because it would give a lot of us hope that it is class consciousness, that we're all waking up to something here, you know? And I think the fact that I know so many people running for office is a sign in itself, I think. And I'm pulling for all of you, seriously. So I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel here, right? Like I'm not gonna tell you like who, I don't know the 400 reps in New Hampshire, but there are some websites that I would tell you to definitely go to like, you know, look up information on your district and the elections going on there. The Vote 411 page is a page I've always used for just general information, general knowledge. registration deadlines, registration information. Multiple states obviously uses the same website. Um, but make sure you know where you're. I mean, I would say make sure you know where you're voting to. That's like one of the big deals. The other website that I would say, the NHPR has a really good voting, like, fuck, where did it go? Shit, did I not have it up? Yeah, NHPR has a really good voting tool. A voting guide. Okay. Nope, that's not it. I just had it up. Where'd it go? Was it this thing? Okay. All right. Yeah, it's under a different title. It's so weird. I don't know why I didn't say. This is their voting guide, pretty much. It's town meeting time in New Hampshire, and that's what it is. It pretty much like is explaining like the things that are at stake at some of these votes, which is like budget is like a big one, right? Like your town's budget. Um, yeah, that's right here. Um, yeah, so definitely, again, this is something that there's a lot going on in the world that I feel like has to have a lot of analysis, and there are people that are much better at like local elections than I am. These are some of the sources for that. I would also say go follow David Bates. If you're not following him on NH Talk, he is a huge fucking he's like my local election expert, really. Um there's 603 forward, 603 forward. Go follow them on TikTok. Huge. Great source of information. Thank you, Bridget, for that. Um Citizen Count. If you don't know about this website, you're already on my shit list, okay? No, I'm just kidding. No, this is a great, again, I didn't know Citizens Count had such good information for like the local elections. I used to use it like just for like general information um on elections nationwide, but uh not nationwide, statewide. But it's always been a good source for New Hampshire based political information. The same things that the other websites do, but it's just another good spot for you to go to. Um, yeah, David knows a lot of inside baseball. Ben Ming, I think Ben Ming is another big follow. I think he's running as well. Would be a good follow for everyone. And touching on that a little bit, so I want to spend a little bit more time on this than the local elections. I do just want to just make, they say when it comes to like local and town elections and special elections, how you win them is just making people aware that there's an election. So um just if you guys make content, which I've seen a lot of you make content too, just in the coming days, make sure people know what's going on. And that holds true especially on special elections, right? Which is District 7. Damn, I didn't realize I get dry mouth. I can't talk a lot, you know? I'm fucking District 7, Carroll County has a special election, okay? Special elections have very low turnout because people are not excited. Because why? It happens on a random fucking March Tuesday, right? It's not your typical day. It's not when the primaries are happening. It's not when all the other elections are happening. It's happening on fucking call down chat. How dare you? Hey, that's bad. It's illegal here. Um, yeah, so Ossipee, Tuftonboro, Wolfboro has an election coming up. This is a pretty interesting election, right? It's the primary, the guy that won the primary, Dale Fincher, he's a libertarian, like free state guy. Okay, free state endorsed. There is money. The GOP has put money into this race. I've heard like 50 to 75K into this race, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a fucking lot for a town in New Hampshire that has, you know, like whatever, a few thousand people in it, right? Dale Fincher won with a write-in vote during the primaries, um, which is really interesting, right? If you go to Citizens Count, you can see um, all the things he's for and against. I don't really have to explain to you if you know anything about the Free State. I don't have to explain it. If you're if you know anything about libertarians, I don't really have to explain it. That's what he is, and he's a fucking carpetbagger. Okay, like another good follow. Kayla Hewitt is her name. She has been all over this dude. Kayla Hewitt is this new account that I've seen in the New Hampshire talk space. She is all over this dude. You know, so like props to her. Go follow her too. You can probably learn a lot about Dale Fincher from that account. But he was thinking about going to Texas in 2024 or something. That was her latest TikTok that she said. So she's not even from here. Republicans in general are trying to destroy this state. I tend to like not try to not use like language like that. Like it's crazy to say, but a lot of you are aware of like the libertarians and how fucking whacked out they are on Twitter. Like it's insane, right? Like they've really normalized some really like violent language and really crazy stuff. And I think if we start seeing them in these elections, they're gonna try to be assholes. I mean, they're gonna try to like beat their chest, and we have to. I mean, not that I'm saying we need to be assholes to them, but we need to be aware of this. That like right now, it takes energy to get a write-in vote for this. Like, let me see if I can find the 2024. Sorry, no, the 2026 Carroll County District 7 primary. I spelled that so wrong, but let's yeah. All right. So you guys can see this, right? So Bobby Boudman ran unopposed. On the Republican side, you have Dallas Emery. What kind of names are these? the fuck is Autopsy? Did you hear that? Dallas Emery, Seamus Oscalade, and Dale Fincher. That's a smorgasbord of a mouthful, certainly. So he got 771 votes as a write-in. That's a motivated 800 people that showed up there. Or, I mean, no, I don't even know. I was gonna say, were they just standing outside of? Were they just standing outside of the polling booth and being like, Dale Fincher, or we'll rob you? Dale Fincher, or we will bring bears to your fucking house and feed them. Oh man, this is. But yeah, so a big part of this is really getting the awareness out there, right? So you guys know that I'm a big fan of the Tea Party, not like that, not of the politicians, but of the way they took this fucking country over. The winds of change are at our backs right now. Like if you and we're gonna go over some of these primaries. You know, we're gonna go over some of the wins that we're seeing, but people are voting policy right now. Like people are voting working class right now. They being part of the party is not enough. It's almost like a liability now to say that you are running as the Democratic candidate. It's almost like, well, you know, it is such an interesting, you know, I'm going on a tangent here, but it is such an interesting dynamic now where it's like there used to be like these kind of like lack of a better word, they were like purity tests. Like there was this one or you know, a platform that you couldn't cross. And now it's like it's almost like, okay, you're a Democrat. Is Israel committing a genocide? You know, it's like that has become kind of like the platform of the Democratic Party. You know, so it's like you almost have to you have to separate yourself from that, from the money that is still coming in for that, which is insane. It's insane. It is insane how much things have changed in a matter of 2 years. Sentiment, like again, approval of Palestinians versus Israelis versus Iran versus whatever, you know, it's fucking insane. So again, to go back to this, this shows to me that there is a fair bit of energy from the libertarians, and there is a fair bit of energy. They are taking over New Hampshire slowly. I mean, they have the Speaker of the House. They say whatever they want in New Hampshire. They're getting headlines because of that too. They're saying whatever they want on Twitter, I mean. And they get headlines for that. How about the 4 Democrats who voted against the War Powers Act today? Yeah, so we'll be going over that too. I mean, like, I know on the Senate side, I didn't even look at the reps on the Democratic side. I know on the Senate side it was pretty much down the line minus fucking strokey Fetterman, right? Mr. like slobber on himself Fetterman. What the fuck happened to that dude too? Graham Plattner is not only going to be running against Susan Collins, he's going to be running against John Fetterman. Okay, like that's going to be his biggest fucking op when they get to when he inevitably beats fucking croaky Janet Mills and just like gets her out of the way, and then they can bring up all the Nazi stuff again. They can like throw the whole fucking woodwork at him, but they're gonna like bring out John Fetterman. They're gonna be like, this is what this guy's gonna turn into. We've seen it, you know. It's gonna be crazy. Let's see. War Powers Act. Okay, let's put a bow on this. Let's put a bow on this real quick. Before we move on, I just want to finish. This was 2022's election. Okay. Now, what was 2022? It was a non-election year, a non-presidential election year, right? And Bobby Boudman ran then too, right? So you're already going to have kind of like depressed turnout then. You're going to have even more depressed turnout for this because of its random nature on a middle of a March 10th in the whatever amount of time. Oh my God, Ox, you're the fucking man, bro. Thank you so much. You're the best. You're not, jeez, unbelievable. What is happening here? What is this asset thing? Oh, it's my alerts. It's my alerts, but they're not updated. All right, there we go. Ox, you're the best, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Big time. Yeah, so again, you guys, I talk about the Tea Party, not because I like their politics, but because I believe what they did, the time that they did it, they took this country over because they were disciplined, they were focused, they had their messaging right. I know sometimes some of you might feel like you're not making a difference, but if you were to let just 5 people know that there was an election in District 7 where the names of the people that run are Seamus, McEnany, and McDougal Robertson, you know? And a Dale Fincher write-in won the won as a write-in. So make content, talk to people about it, if you know anyone. I know some people on TikTok that are from that area. So even on Discord, the people on Discord are pretty active. The other thing I wanted to say is Bobby Boudman. Okay, so we have, I mean, I don't say we, like through Marissa, because Marissa and I have had our eye on this, as well as other NH Talk people have had our eye on this election. And she definitely, as far the last time we checked, she can use phone banking. I want to see if it's on her website. Here, you can host a sign here. I don't know if Marissa's in the chat, if she knows, or if anyone knows what her phone banking. Let me see. Bobby. Here we go. Yeah, Mobilize. So if you go to mobilize.us, if you want a phone bank for her, which is I'm gonna end up doing it this weekend at some point, because it really, I feel like a huge difference can be made if even just leaving voicemails for people, right? So if you go to mobilize.us, anyone can phone bank. You fill this out. Looks like March Yeah, anytime between March 6th and March 9th. Those are the days. Perfect. Yeah. My lord. My lord. All right, let's catch up to chat. You guys are great. This is the first time I've had to actually scroll up to chat to catch up and deal with you guys. So let's see. Did you see Rep Sandra Panic from Pelham resign? No, I did not. That's interesting. What was it like uh, uh getting thrown off here. Let me health reasons. Oh shit. Okay. Well, interesting. Yeah, I mean, these are sorry. Second. These are always opportunities, right? Like things like these. I hope she's okay. I mean, obviously. But these are opportunities. These are opportunities where it takes just an excited, disciplined, energized group of people to get together and make it happen. And it's not, like I said, it's not reinventing the wheel. You guys want to really, like, anytime you feel like shit is impossible, go look up the 2012 Tea Party. I'm telling, like, they knocked off the Speaker of the House in a primary. And their Republican approval rates were higher than Democratic approval ratings are for their own leaders. It's possible. And again, for this, the difference here, you can get, like, because the excitement is definitely with the Dems and negativity is with the Republicans for sure. And it's like this kind of race is such an opportunity if we just let people know. You saw those primary numbers who showed up. I think, like, so in this total vote, there's 7,000 people in this total, like 7,000 people that decided this district, right? But if you were to take the primary vote, so back here to the primary vote, the total here 615 versus 1,000 showed up to the primary. Like, I don't think you're gonna get. You're not gonna get that much more people showing up. Really, honestly, I don't think so because of the nature of the date of this race. You'll get the same amount of people that show up for town elections. How many people are that? Not many. So get people out to the town elections. Go sign up to phone bank for Bobby Boudman. Let's get another seat in New Hampshire because they're fucking wrecking balling New Hampshire right now. With everything that's going on in the country. So yeah, definitely check those websites out. And let's deal with chat before I forget. Yeah, checker mobile eyesight. Great. So John Fetterman is going after Mehdi Hassan. Obviously. The you know what? Let's watch this first.
And the first primaries of this midterm election year certainly had their share of surprises and some confusion as well. The big story coming overnight with NBC News projecting State Representative James Tallarico has defeated Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett to win the Democratic nomination in the race for U.S. Senate. Crockett conceding the race this morning to the 36-year-old Tallarico, who has won more than 53% of the vote. But we don't know his general election opponent yet. NBC News is projecting that the Republican race between Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton will advance to a runoff on May 26th, with neither candidate able to get to 50% last night. President Trump, however, clearly not keen on Texas Republicans engaging in a bruising battle ahead of the general election, saying today on social media that he will be making his endorsement in the race soon and that he will be asking the candidate that I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race. That post coming after both Republicans ripped into each other last night.
I've worked for decades to build the Republican Party, both here in Texas and nationally. I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
For too long, John Cornyn has turned his back on us. For too long, he attacked the border wall by calling it naive and pushed amnesty while our country was being invaded. For too long, he stabbed our president in the back by trying to derail his presidential campaigns and supporting the Democrats.
Paxton is literal scum. He's literal scum, and it doesn't get. Oh my! And that's a state with fucking
Tell us how he did. How did James Tallarico pull off his primary victory? And what does that tell us about Tallarico's potential chances in a general election? Reminder, folks: a Democrat hasn't won a Senate race in more than 3 decades in Texas.
Yeah, a couple things I think went into this, Kristen. First of all, you see here, I think you start right around Tallarico's political base here, which is in the Austin area, Travis County, right outside of it, too. You saw him run up monster numbers there, get monster turnout to go along with that. And I think that was part of the pattern that you saw throughout the state last night, which is the voters in particular who powered him around Austin. And
not as
a lot of white, college-educated,
morally,
sort of.
They're neither of them are as morally clear on the Gaza issue as I would like them to be. They can't be, I don't think, because they're from Texas. Here's the thing: like, neither of them are progressive. And I think it's easy to look at Tallarico as a progressive relative to Jasmine Crockett, but no progressive is going to take casino money. You know, he took casino PAC money, and that's attached to Miriam Adelson. And even though it's not a Gaza, it's not like an Israel AIPAC money type of connection, it's still fucking Miriam Adelson, who is the devil incarnate. Okay, and it's still casino money, which I don't agree with. You don't need that money if you're Tallarico. I don't know why you need it. It's a stain on your resume, but that's why neither of them are progressive, because a progressive could never win Texas. A liberal establishment or with some socialist qualities, I think has a better chance here. But Crockett is definitely the more she's still running the Israel line for sure. Tallarico makes it a bit more, he speaks about it a little bit more clearly, but he's still he's still the whole like defensive weapons. I want to give them defensive weapons. And to me, that's just it's not enough now. And again, this is what I wanted to say before during the New Hampshire, while we were talking about the New Hampshire politics, that like 2 years ago, literally 2 to 3 years ago, the first question you got is, do you condemn Hamas? It's a fucking meme now, right? Like, do you condemn Hamas? Before you could fucking, like, what's the weather like? Well, first of all, do you condemn Hamas? You know? And it was like that. It was hardcore like that on the left and the liberal establishment. Now is Israel committing a genocide? It is so crazy how much it's flipped. General sentiment in the country, in the entirety of the Democratic Party. Don't let them gaslight you on the internet when they use phrases like online leftists or like third-party voters fucked you or fucked us, and it's all because they didn't want to vote for a woman or a black woman. Like, it is all just liberal propaganda of a controlled opposition party that has forgotten how to win. They are cucks to the lobbyists. I'm sorry. They are more interested in getting the bag than they are winning. That is problematic. And what this does now, this is a double whammy of a result. It's not just Tallarico waxing Crockett, okay? This is a waxing. This is not close. I don't care what they say. This is like a 5-point difference. He was not expected to win going into this primary, or going into primary season, I should say. He definitely picked up pace as things started picking up. But this is sending a clear signal to Democrats who have already started the identity politics bullshit, that like it's a racial thing, that like they don't want to vote for a black woman. But what people are telling you is that they will vote for policy. They will vote for the things that you're willing to provide for them, and Tallarico had more of a platform than Crockett did, and that is a microcosm of the establishment versus the left. We used to make fun of Republicans and say they stand for nothing. What do Democrats stand for? What's their platform? Can anyone tell me what they are running for? Besides, I'm not a Republican. I would love to know, and I would anti-Trump. There you go. Yeah. And it's not inspiring. Yeah, exactly. Matt, does Chris Pappas have a policy page? Does he fucking need a policy page? They learned from the Republicans. Trump went up there in 2016 with no platform. He's like, yo, fuck the Clintons. That's what he did. He went up there, he said, yo, fuck the Clintons, fuck the deep state, vote for me. No, I don't, yeah, I got a health plan, trust me. I got one. Just vote for me. You know, and he just went and bullshit and he won. And the Democrats are like, well, shit, we could do that too. And yes, I want you to understand where the Democratic establishment brain is just by the way they treat Zohran Mamdani. Okay. The most popular Democratic politician on earth right now, who is doing things they told us would take 30, 40 years, things that we thought were unrealistic, right? Let's go through some of our fucking Steve Karnacki analysis here real quick. But this is a double whammy. This is a double whammy result because of the Republican side too, and I will explain as we go through.
White-collar professional voters. We've talked about that demographic becoming more and more Democratic nationally, being highly engaged in the Trump era, extremely anti-Trump, very motivated to turn out and vote. That demographic really got behind Tallarico. It delivered big numbers from around his base in Austin, but it also allowed him to make some incursions up here. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. A ton of votes came out of here. You do see this was Crockett winning in Dallas County. That's where her district is, but right outside Dallas, north of Dallas in Collin County, Denton County, you see Tallarico was able to make pretty big incursions in Crockett's backyard. Again, powered by that sort of white suburban vote that really turned out in droves, turned out for him. And the ultimate difference maker for him, I think, was in South Texas
Crockett's
here,
backyard.
Heavily Hispanic areas. He beat Crockett.
That was where the
2-1.
difference
He beat
in
it
this
by 30
election
points
came.
in county after county here. So all of that, I think, added up to the difference that you see right here. What kept Crockett in it was the black vote. All of the counties that you see here, just about all of the counties you see here for Crockett, significant black population there. She clearly won the black vote overwhelmingly in this primary.
Well, it's just fascinating to see that turnout. And of course, your point about Hispanics, Steve, that could very well be a big determining factor once we get to the general election. Let me ask you about some of the House races, though. What were some of your biggest takeaways from the House races, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, scary night for incumbents in Texas and probably incumbents nationally saying, what's the atmosphere going to be like when primaries come to their state? You already have one who's gone down. Dan Crenshaw, Republican here in the Houston suburbs. This was the only House Republican incumbent.
Dan fucking Crenshaw went down. He went fucking down in flames, crushed. This is embarrassing. Like this is like the type of this is the type of, and they'll always say like, oh, this is red flags for the. This is a red flag. This is a red flag for the Republican Party. This is the type of thing that is just like to me. The only way Republicans can do anything about these midterms is to fucking shelve them. I think partly why this war is going on, to be honest. We'll have to see. I can't believe that's even in our like universe of possibility, but it is. It's crazy.
In Texas, not endorsed by Donald Trump, and boy, did it show in the results. Crenshaw losing to Steve Toth. By the way, the part of this district that really did Crenshaw.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it's such a fucking loser, this guy, dude. Like I don't take personal like satisfaction in these things, but sometimes I fucking do. And there aren't many people on this earth that deserve to get fucking launched into the sun as Dan fucking Crenshaw. Okay? Fucking douchebag.
In is right here. This is Montgomery County. No county in America delivered a bigger plurality to Donald Trump in 2024 than this county. So arguably the most pro-Trump big.
Yeah, Ojeda too. We're gonna go into North Carolina. We're gonna go into North Carolina. We're gonna go into yeah. It's fucking huge. I don't know if a lot of people know who Ojeda is. Some of us are
County in America sides against the one candidate not endorsed
The OG Plattner. The OG Sweat Plattner. The OG Sweat Plattner for sure.
by Trump, incumbent in Texas. You go look in the 18th district here, two Democratic incumbents squaring off against each other. It is going to go to a runoff. A bit of a surprise here. A lot of folks thought that Al Green, longtime incumbent, was the underdog here against Christian Menefee, who was just elected 5 weeks ago. They are going to go to a runoff. There will be an incumbent, obviously, who will lose there. How about this one, Colin Allred, the Democrat who.
The reason why that Al Green Menefee, why both of them are incumbents is because of the redistricting that happened in Texas. Just so if that seemed confusing to you, why they were both incumbents and why that district will have an incumbent, it's because the redistricting that happened in Texas made it so now you have two guys running for the same seat, Al Green and Menefee, which again, they're as good as Al Green at least makes noise. I think the other guy is also APAC bot. So
Used to be a House member, coming back, running against the Democrat who took the seat that he vacated, Julie Johnson. This is going to go to a runoff, but Allred leading preliminarily, double-digit margin over Johnson. There's an incumbent who's in big danger there in the runoff, another incumbent in big danger, Tony Gonzalez, headed towards a runoff. There's been a scandal involving Gonzalez lately. He finishes behind Brandon Herrera.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about these two guys, if you haven't heard about these two motherfuckers, okay? Tony Gonzalez is all over the news right now. He had an affair with the staffer that that had like this extortion or something. It had some, non-consensual aspect to it. And it was like a power type of thing. I'm having trouble with words today, sorry. And she ended up lighting herself on fire and she died. And it's like terrible. Like it's a terrible fucking story. Like if you see the texts are out there and like how he's treating the situation afterwards is just fucking terrible. And how Republicans are like, it's so crazy watching like MSNBC asking Tony Gonzalez, like, are you gonna resign? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And I'm thinking to myself, have you seen the upper echelons of our government? This dude's not going to resign. The fuck are you talking about? You might catch him shooting someone on camera. You might not resign. That's not enough. You got years of trafficking to do before we consider resignation from you. But this story's really fucked up. And then Brandon Herrera is a gun tuber who won Uvalde. Texas is a fucked up place, huh? Fuck that place, dude. That's what I say.
Preliminary, and then you take a look over even in North Carolina here. Here's an incumbent, Valerie.
Yeah, you heard me. Uvalde, gun tuber. So you got a gun tuber versus a fucking guy who coerced his staffer to have sex and then who lit herself on fire. Had a child too, by the way.
Fushi, two-term incumbent.
Okay. Here is she almost won. Nita Lamb. This is another red flag going off for the liberal establishment. Okay. Valerie Fushi is an incumbent, hardcore Israel supporter, gets a lot of money from AIPAC, has said some really fucked up shit too. No, let me see if I can. She said something really fucked up recently. Yeah, so I know it's gonna go, oh yeah, it was about the genocide. Okay. Yeah. Possibly a false ad. Okay, no. She conceded. Nita Lamb conceded. Okay. This is still a big result for Democrats nationwide. I mean, the fact that it was even competitive, I think it says a lot for the kind of trouble. And we're gonna look at some of these. Numbers in a minute here.
She is ahead by 1,200 votes, 1% over her challenger, Sanders-backed progressive insurgent. Scattering of votes left here. You see, we don't have a check mark. We haven't.
Sanders-backed progressive insurgent. I mean, that's the whole shebang right there.
called it yet, but Fushi may have done just enough to survive there,
Wow.
but certainly not enough if you're an incumbent looking on nationally saying, how's the atmosphere? It can be tough for an incumbent right now.
Yeah, incumbents undoubtedly very jittery.
Like, these are incumbents, okay? I have to remind people, I know we're upset as a collective. We're upset. We talk about how upset we are about our representatives. The idea that this many incumbents are in trouble in a, in a year, in a time where there is already so much natural hate towards the Republicans, right? You would expect that there would be a little bit more of like a coalescing around like, maybe a lib, which is like normally what we would have done. And they're attempting to do it with Gavin Newsom. They are attempting to do it. They're sprinkling him out there. And we're saying, fuck off, right? That like, as a collective, we're just like fuck off, right? But that doesn't mean I wouldn't vote for Gavin Newsom. That doesn't mean he can't change between now and then. But it is important to keep fighting for the things that we're fighting for, because look at the results, guys. Look at these fucking results. All of these results, they end up snowballing. And then the people who are making decisions on like fundraising and like investing in some of these campaigns, they start seeing it too. And they're like, you know what? Maybe we do start investing in some of these progressive candidates. I don't know if this is something I can tell you guys right now. I want to like give you guys a little bit of excitement. I'm going to tell you guys. The candidate that I work for, Paige Boschman, who is also primarying a incumbent Democrat, Maggie Goodlander, in Congressional District 2. She has just scored an interview with Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks. To me, that is the type of kind of eyes and the opportunity. And I don't look at it as just an opportunity for her. There are a lot of eyes on New Hampshire right now for many different reasons. And I think we are in a moment here that is like palpable. And the reason why I try to like accentuate this news, because they might not make it seem like it's a big deal, but this result is a big fucking deal. It's a big fucking deal. Don't let them bury what these results mean. Let it continue to create momentum for you, because it should not be this close. It shouldn't. Not in a place like North Carolina. So like when you look at some of the numbers, you look at some of the like in New Hampshire, like they can win those, right? Like Heath Howard can win his fucking race. I happen to think Heath Howard might have the easiest race. Like, what an environment for Heath Howard. So so I mean, these are the things where I push policy conversation. Vote policy, not hero. We're not looking for, saviors here. People are reacting to policy. The same attacks are not working. Okay, that's why Plattner is surging right now, Graham Plattner in Maine as well, which is every time news comes out that he is surging, something else comes out, something a nothing burger about him, right? Where they're just like, oh yeah, we found a 60-year fossil with his fucking initials on it that share the same initials as, I don't know, some fascist or something. I don't know, something crazy, right? He does. He absolutely does need more nationalized. Here's the thing, progressives, if you want, like the reason Nita Alam was this close is because she did have national eyes on her. Bernie Sanders ended up endorsing her. That's what really got her almost over the finish line. There was someone he didn't endorse that was like kind of a surprise. Tallarico, that's right. They were looking for him to endorse Tallarico and he wouldn't. And I think that's another sign of that Tallarico. I mean, he really isn't. He's not a progressive. He's as progressive as you can get in Texas while still being competitive in a historically red state, which is just the stars are aligning in that state right now, especially if fucking that dude wins. Oh, fuck, what's his name? Not Cornyn, but the other guy.
When they see those results. Steve, thank you so much. It was great to be up late with you watching all of the results come in last night. Great to see you as always.
Always fun to do it. Thanks, Kristen. We thank you for watching, and remember.
Let me see. There's one other. Let's see. There was one other clip I had here that I wanted to show you guys real quick. But let's go over some. We can go over some of these numbers. Actually, over some of these numbers in detail. Paxton, yes, Paxton. Yeah. Let's go back to. Actually, no. Those numbers will be here. So let's look at Texas real quick. Let's look at. So yeah, so the big spot where Jasmine Crockett underperformed was like the Dallas metro area, which is, again, here's the red flag for Democrats in Texas, or for the liberal establishment in Texas right now, that moderate voters, your base, like the liberal establishment, the people who are still sympathetic to Israel and want to vote blue no matter who, those people, right? They voted for the more progressive person. Bye, Marissa. Thanks for coming. You're the best. And that was where she needed to get like 70% of the vote there, and she ended up, I don't know, getting 60 or something like 62, and it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to take her over. But let's look at the Republican. This is insane, okay, for Republicans, because John Cornyn is one of the biggest Trump dick riders like in all of politics to begin with, is a longtime incumbent. Ken Paxton got impeached by Republicans in his state. The dude is like the walking definition of corruption. He spent like nothing on this race. Cornyn spent millions. Let's see, Cornyn versus Paxton spending. Let's see if we can find it. Cornyn's ally spent $70 million in Texas. Ken Paxton raised $4 million. They want to tell you money wins elections, right? Like I feel like sometimes, right, the op is them telling you that it's too hard because of the money, right? It's like that's part of the chilling at method of not getting you to vote. But here's an example where the money didn't help. Again, the Tea Party in the 2012s, money didn't help. Got outspent 5-1. This is fucking 15-1. This is 20-1. Incumbent. This should be hopeful. Again, I know it's the Republican side, but Republicans are unhappy too. Okay. And part of the problematic thing here and Democrats have to be very fucking careful of, is that populists are not just left wing. Some populists are right wing. And populism is what got Trump elected. He ran on populism. He was a liar because he's part of the corporate class, right? But the people who are going to threaten in these upcoming elections are the people who are going to attack things like affordability, rent, groceries, inflation, like things like very kitchen table stuff, right? Those people are going to be the most dangerous here. And as of right now, let me give you a couple areas where Republicans are flanking Democrats on their left. Okay? Let's start with this article right here. Can you guys tell me what I'm not even, what does that title say to you guys? Read the fucking title. Mitt Romney, billionaire, puts an op-ed into the New York Times. Tax the rich like me. Utah fucking Mormon. Trump stooge too, though has some, has a little bit of pizzazz in him. I mean, Obamacare is Romney care after all. When Mitt Romney was the governor of Massachusetts, he had the first universal health. I mean, Obamacare is based off of Massachusetts Romney care. He had to run from it. But how in the fuck is Republican Mitt Romney flanking you on taxing the rich here? I don't care if he's being real, disingenuine, genuine or not. How are they flanking you? Okay? When Trump, okay? How about this? He had a tweet. If I can find it. Anyway, he had a tweet, okay, which is just a tweet. It's on his like Truth Social bullshit, where he's pretty much saying he wants to take private equity out of homes, out of houses. like he straight up is taking populist talking points, because guess what? Zoran Mamdani ran on populism, and that man is so popular. That's why Trump is like so giddy about him. Fucking rubs off on Trump. Trump is toxic right now. Zoran Mamdani is gold. If you are in a room with Zoran Mamdani, it makes you look good. Even Donald Trump right now. Donald Trump can use a little bit more Zoran Mamdani. And Zoran Mamdani is literally the affordability guy. Right now, that's what people want. And so, okay, so that's another area. Where's another area that we're being flanked by right-wing, like fascists? Israel. Nicholas Fuentes, okay, self-proclaimed white nationalist neo-Nazi, self-proclaimed, not me proclaiming it. He calls himself that, okay? Thinks Hitler is cool. That's what he said, He's out there with more heat and more clarity on Gaza and Israel than anyone in the Democratic Party. Now, is it because he's anti-Semitic? Probably. But the fuck are you going to let him take that space up? The morally clear space. It doesn't take anti-Semitism to condemn a genocide. And Democrats want to go to war in Iran too. Don't let them fucking trick you. All those fucking, just go look at Cory Booker answering questions about how he feels. Chris Van Hollen, everything is about legality, illegality, not about fucking bombing people into obliteration, into fucking extinction. It's all about, well, he doesn't have the War Powers Act. These people are fucking spineless. Just gutless. And they're getting pummeled for it. They're paying for it now. And it's up to us to make them keep paying for it. Okay? We cannot let Nicolas Fuentes take up the moral clarity space on Gaza. Okay? Exactly. Marjorie Taylor. Exactly. It's because we stand for nothing. It just we don't stand for anything outside of that. We are not Republicans. And again, even if anti-Trump sentiment gets you a Democratic president in 2028, the next iteration, if you don't listen to like the progressive, like the populist sentiments in your party, and you like elect Gavin Newsom, the next version of Trump is going to be exponentially worse. Exponentially. This is nothing. We have a bunch of dumbasses up there still, thankfully. You know? Tucker Carlson and Nicolas Fuentes are not fucking dumbasses. Tucker Carlson might be the most dangerous political operative in America. Just remember what I'm telling you right now, okay? I think Tucker Carlson's going to run for president, and if he wins, he's going to be the most dangerous president we've ever seen, because he's really good at what he does, and he believes in some really fucked up shit. So this is amazing, okay? This is amazing for multiple reasons. Texas is fucked, dude. Like, it's just unbelievable that Ken Paxton is. I mean, it just tells you so much about how the general, the base of the Republican Party is disconnected right now. They're not in it. Their heart's not in this. It's hard to have your heart in this. This is not what anyone thought was going to happen. And you know what, Bridget? Thank you so much. Thank you. You know what? I'm not the type of person, okay? I know that trust me, if I ever have a take and the take comes true, I fucking know. I know it. I mentally compartmentalize. I just want to be like, I fucking told you. I fucking told everyone so. But no, I compartmentalize it. I try to be the bigger man. But you know what? I'm a bask in this, Bridget. Thank you so much. You know what? Because I'm not bullshit. It's not hard to bullshit people. It's not hard to bullshit people about this, right? If you care, it takes like some critical thinking and some like nuance and really to like get to the bottom of like people don't understand, especially my liberal ops. They don't understand that I just want to fucking win, man. Maybe it's difficult listening to me because I'm fucking right. And it's hard. It's hard to change your perspective. It's hard to start thinking differently about something you've thought about the same way forever. But ultimately, I just want to fucking win. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. Yo, I love you guys. Yeah, I mean, and I think even in that race in Texas, neither of them really. I mean, Tallarico had more of a platform than Jasmine Crockett, and Jasmine Crockett, she's fight. Don't get me wrong. I love her style. Maybe she runs again for something, but just not enough. There's not enough oomph behind it, knowing like where she takes her money from, how she fundraises. And this is something that I really I kind of want to touch on too. Because I've been saying this to my friends and the people close to me about like some of these races, and how as we get closer and closer to the midterms, and as we get closer and closer to these races, like the national races, progressive candidates are going to win, and the identity politics are going to start. Okay. And I want to the racial complaints have already started in Texas from the same groups of people that take their money from the liberal establishment, right? And these people are ultimately pointing to the fact that there was like a racial disparity between Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett, and people are going to throw that in your face just like they did for Kamala Harris, and they love throwing it in our face even more because we're from New Hampshire, and apparently New Hampshire is like 100% white people. You know, like like it's can have this conversation forever. But people don't understand the nuance that exists there too, that everything is not just black and white. Like there are Latinos, there are Middle Eastern people, there are women, there are non-binary people, there are all these different individuals that cannot play circus and cannot fit into your fucking hula hoop of black versus white. And that's like a big narrative that's coming out right now, is like, because one of the big numbers that you saw here is like 80% of the African American vote, or the black vote, went to Jasmine Crockett, which is understandable. That's not something I inherently have a problem with. I don't inherently find it surprising. But this idea that everyone that is non-black is going to be voting for the opposite candidate just for that reason is disingenuous and is hurtful to the strategic intentions of your party. Are you trying to be more inclusive or more divisive? Because let me tell you, it's hard. You have to really be careful when you are having critique, especially in like internet spaces. I've been stung by using language that wasn't meant to be hurtful, but it was just it was just shitty. It was a lot of like the cotton video, right, where I showed an image of like dodgeball, that scene in Dodgeball where it was just like, all right, Cotton, let's see if this works out for her. And I'm talking to a black creator, a black woman, and it's like, fuck, that looks terrible, right? Like, but I'm showing the picture of Dodgeball up in the air. These are ways to like silence important conversation and critique. And the fact of the matter is, if Jasmine Crockett came out a little bit harder against Israel, came out with more working class policies, came out with more of a platform that would help everyday progressive, like everyday people in Texas, she probably would have done better. It's as simple as that. Like the Latinos that voted for Tallarico would have gone over and voted for Crockett. You know, some of the Middle Easterners would have. If Crockett came out harsh against Israel, she probably does a lot better. But does she do better in the general? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, the cotton one. Yeah, it's unfortunate because the argument I was making in that video was one of the best arguments I thought I had ever made in any fucking video. But I got a bunch of creators responding to me and being like, how dare you? How dare you even think of the word cotton in this situation? Oh, it was bad. And I have nightmares about that. So I am and did I need to say that? No, it was for comedic. It was not required for me to say. It was like just a comedic snap at the beginning, like a hook. You know, but these are the important things now. The hand grenades and like the traps that are being set. Again, calling any critique of Israel anti-Semitic. Obviously, we're way past that now. Like that doesn't work anymore. But the big thing right now is identity politics. That like, hey, you care about people in Gaza more than you care about people here. You don't care about black people because you're voting for your motivations, or you don't care about Latino people. And it doesn't matter whether it's black, Latino, any marginalized group in this country, right? And I just think that we expect people to jump into these identity hoops. And I tell people, like, use me as an example, like whether or not you consider me white is based on the geographic location that we are having this conversation in America, you know, and like your political stance and my political These are all like, so, you know, what about me? Like, am I part of this white group? Even though I'm not considered white. I mean, one of the memes for Persians is that they think they're white, you know? They behave as if they're white. I'm white passing here. But these are the nuances that when you flatten nuance, you do more hurt. You hurt the intentions of, or progress. You hurt progress, for lack of a better word. Because if the ultimate goal here is to win, let's not get lost in name calling and try to figure out from the numbers why you're not winning. And I can tell you from the numbers why you're not winning. You're not progressive enough. There isn't enough of a difference between you and Republicans. Republicans have their own candidates. You need to create a difference. And Kamala, I mean, they're about to fucking run Kamala again, dude. How much have these motherfuckers learned? They're about to run her ass out there again and call us a bunch of racists for not voting for her because she's going to give us a lethal military. That's the other thing. Like, oh my God, fucking liberal ops, bro. Liberal ops. Anyway, these should be very, if you are progressive, if you are a leftist, if you are anywhere left of Democrats, I think that you should be excited about these results. I didn't hear shit about Arkansas, so there must have not been anything surprising about that state. What happened in Arkansas? I didn't even see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm blind. Oh, Tom Cotton plus 72. Fuck that guy, dude. Yeah. No surprises in Arkansas. But yeah, just keep your ear. You just, focus on what you guys can do. Focus on your towns. We have some big elections here. These all make a difference. And again, these races make a huge difference. And I think, first of all, screenshot this, okay? If Tallarico runs against Ken Paxton, he's gonna fucking win. He's going to fucking win. We all need to hope that he finds. Tell Trump to call the AG of Texas, which would be Ken Paxton, and tell him to give himself a few thousand more votes. How hard can it be, Ken? Go find yourself 3,000 votes. Unbelievable. Jesus, what kind of Republican are you that can't find yourself 3,000 votes in Texas? Unbelievable. Unreal. All right. So I think let's move on from here. So again, beware of the identity politics, especially for like the other races that are going to be coming up and a lot of the progressive races that are coming up. And vote for the good life, man. Okay? Don't vote blue no matter who. Yeah, don't vote blue. You know what? Don't vote blue no matter who. Vote for the fucking good life. Vote for everything that you deserve. Okay? That's right. Jump scare, you fucks. Anyway, just North Star it. North Star it. And go Ken Paxton. I hope you pull it off, buddy. All right. So, on to World War III. Okay? Obviously, you guys have been seeing me make a lot of videos on this. Obviously, this is literally my expertise. Okay, I'm Iranian, and I have a master's in international politics. The lore drop here, which I don't know if I've ever said this on stream. The lore drop here is my dream. You know, like kids were like, I want to be police. I want to be airplane pilots. I was like, I want to be the first fucking ambassador to Iran from America. That's the reason I got into politics. The reason I went to international politics. The reason why I learned 4 languages, got into diplomacy. So I feel like I was kind of made for this moment because a lot of people are still, this information is hard for them to understand the nuance, the layers, the sides, for lack of a better word. And I feel like this is a major chapter in American history right now. And I think I don't say this hyperbolically. We are on the precipice of America like becoming Russia. Like we are showing the world right now, because of what's happening in Iran, how much of a paper tiger we might be globally, how fragile things are, like how one country can affect the global gas and oil industries. And we created a problem in a place that didn't need it. And at a certain point, it's going to be out of our control. And that's not that far away. And I'm going to I haven't watched this. We're gonna watch this together. I haven't actually watched it. This is Pete Hegseth, Mr. Mr. Department of War, former Fox News host. This is gonna be the CENTCOM briefing. I have not watched this. I have no idea what he's about to say, but I can tell you right now, without going into this right now, that right now Iran is shooting Shahed drones and missiles at these countries. And these Shahed drones are known as one-way drones, okay? In America, Iran's drone making capability is fucking insane. Like you're talking like 500 drones a day they're making right now, of these drones that cost $20,000 to $50,000 a piece, right? Those are the drones you're seeing in the images and the videos of them going into the hotels, and those big explosions. It was one of those drones that killed like three US soldiers in one shot. So 20 grand a drone, 50 grand a drone. They make about 500 of them every day. And what we're using to shoot down every one of those is anywhere between 4 to 6 like $4 million missiles, or $2 to $4 million missiles. A range of that, right? Qatar, Kuwait, UAE, Saudi Arabia, they're all using these missiles to stop these cheap Iranian missiles. And some of them aren't even hitting them. There's a lot of bullshit AI out there. And I would say do your own research, but trust that I am very stingy about this stuff, and I verify and confirm everything. I should have saved the video, but there is a video of one of these $20,000 missiles. Just like they shot like 6 missiles at it, they all missed, and you can see it come in and impact an area in Tel Aviv, which is a pretty big area. Both sides are lying to us about the true damage in both countries. Like, casualties are probably close to what they're saying, but now, besides the money thing, right? Yes, we can't make them nearly as quick. Actually, we only made 94 interceptor missiles this year. We used that in one day in June. Not even in this conflict, in June during the 12-day war, when Iran told Israel they were going to shoot a bunch of missiles beforehand. And that's what we used, 94 Patriot missiles in one day. Or more than that in one day. But that's all we made in 1 year. And right now, we are running out of them. So like Qatar and Kuwait and UAE is like, they're asking us for them, and we can't even give it to them. And this is so there is a clock ticking right now. Iran has probably 50,000 drones in warehouse, like just waiting to be used, right? And all they're doing is they're depleting the US and the rest of the world. And the big fear here for Arab countries is that we are going to abandon them. And if I were these Arab countries, I would fucking fear that too. We don't care about them. Look at how Republicans treat Middle Easterners here. We don't care about Qatar, Kuwait, UAE. These countries are going to get, like, it's going to be bad for them if Iran decides to make a lesson out of them, but I don't think Iran's going to do that too. Iran's too smart for that. They're savvy, you know. That's why they've survived for thousands of years. They know what they're doing. Sadly, they were painting helicopters and planes on the ground, and we were using missiles to hit them. True story. Okay. Let's see if it's real. Okay. Let's fact check. Drawings of Iran. Okay. Yeah. Let's fact check this. Okay. Because I don't want to spread misinformation either. Yeah. Okay. False. Right. Okay. It's false. Forget that. Okay. Skip that. And that's why we go to fact check these things right away. I saw this earlier today. That's why I didn't fucking add it anywhere. Sinahan had sent it to me about how they were drawing stuff on the ground and they were using like bombs to like blow these up. But that's something that they've done in the past. You know, they'll routinely use like low tech stuff to kind of trick U.S. forces. So let's watch this Hexa thing. We'll stop it along the way if we find anything interesting. We find them saying anything stupid. Shit. So yeah, so this is one of the things that they're not the media is not talking about, and it would take someone who has a little bit of knowledge of the Middle East to kind of explain that these missiles are going to run out. And when that happens, something is going to have to give, right? So there is another very scary theory out there that, you know, Israel would consider using nuclear weapons here. Now, do I think America would use nuclear weapons? No. Because America is still kind of run by capitalists. Okay? Like they're still run by people who are like not trying to extinct themselves for the most part. Israel is not. Israel, and I mean, and again, you guys should definitely look this up for yourselves, approval ratings, all this stuff. It's not just the government that is rabid. It is the population of Israel that is extremely radical. And they do believe they are the chosen ones. You currently have settlers running around in the West Bank right now, just shooting Palestinians in their houses. We're not saying anything about that. But if Israel, okay, and something really big happened to Israel, which I don't know if any of you guys had heard this story, and this I fact checked, and this I know is true. There is a bunker. Hold on. Sorry, I should have pulled this up before. Yeah, there's that information isn't really coming out either. It's on Hebrew. There was a Hebrew article on the Haaretz basically, which was talking about how one of the big things that is happening in Israel. Okay, so Israel is kind of doing what Iran is doing, right? Which is like is censoring a lot of the information that is going on. So Iran, people are like, a common question I get about Iran, right? Iran has completely shut down their internet. There's like 1% of internet connectivity in Iran. And a big question I get from people is, why would Iran do that when they can just show the world what Israel and America is doing to them, it's because they don't want to show their own people what Israel and America is doing to them. Because if the people of Iran start seeing on TV that Israel and America are bombing the security forces and are bombing which they are, along with civilians, okay, they are bombing the security forces. They're making it less safe. They're bombing police departments. They're bombing all kinds of places. But if the people of Iran start seeing on TV that the security forces are getting weakened, they will absolutely come out to the streets and overthrow the government. They will absolutely 100% do that. And that's why Iran is censoring its own information. Now, why is Israel doing that? Israel only lets certain news networks report out of Israel what's going on in Israel. They will only let you see certain things. It's because there is an air of safety in Israel as well. Like the bunkers, the Golden Dome. These things are psychological bunkers as well. Okay, it's not just physical safety, it's psychological safety. It's this belief that you are impenetrable and untouchable. And I know we hear a lot about war in the Middle East, but these generations of Israelis and Iranians have never seen bombs dropped on their country, okay? Like the 20-year-olds in Israel and the 20-year-olds in Iran have never experienced war. It hasn't happened in their lifetime. They don't understand the gravity of it until it happens. So there is this air of safety, this air of kind of like overconfidence. This is the first time in their consciousness that they're seeing bombs dropped on Tel Aviv successfully. Bombs dropped on Tehran successfully. This is not a theoretical situation anymore. And it breaks this air of overconfidence. It breaks this air of invincibility. That's why when you hear, again, there was a story that came out of the West Bank where they were targeting bunkers of settlers in the West Bank. And it becomes a psychological game, right? Where it's like, if you're not safe in your bunker, if you're not safe under the Golden Dome, where are you safe? And maybe that changes the general sentiment of Israelis. Has nothing to do with Judaism, too. I want to just make super clear that some of the biggest anti-IDF, anti-Israeli people that are anti-Israeli state are Jewish. I mean, even like when you talk about some of the biggest pro-Palestinian protests, some of the biggest Free Gaza protests, the front lines were Jewish people, you know? So this has nothing to do with Judaism, you know? It has everything to do with Zionism, and I can tell you firsthand that it doesn't require Israel to be Zionist. A lot of Iranians are Zionists. Shah supporters, King supporters, these are Zionists. These guys are pro-Israeli state. They hate Palestinians. Let me repeat. Iranian monarchists hate Arabs, hate Palestinians. They think they're white. They think they're part of the team, y'all. I can't remind them enough. You ain't ever on the team. No one in America, sadly, they don't. There's no functional difference between you and a Palestinian to your, you know, common bus driver in America. And no hate to the bus driver. It's just the bus driver's got shit to do. You know, got more shit to worry about than the dialectical differences between a Palestinian and an Iranian. And it's okay. But I'm trying to tell Iranians this and other people that, like, no, this is not for freedom, okay? And no, it's not about being Jewish or Israeli. You know, Zionism is a disgusting political movement that has divided the Iranian people, frankly, too, which is sad. So, all right, let's get to fucking Hexeth here. I'm gonna go grab a drink. I'm gonna start playing this. I'm gonna grab a drink. I'll be right back.
Brad Cooper holding a news conference. Let's watch.
I'm honored to stand right here today alongside one of America's finest. Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of U.S. Central Command. We just had a chance to spend a couple of hours together, better part of 2 hours, going through the entirety of this operation, Operation Epic Fury. And Admiral, I want to thank you for everything you do and your incredible leadership.
Bro, I'm going to tell you, okay? Just real quick before I go. If I ever had a fucking Iranian bomb dropped on me in Kuwait over a fucking military incursion I wanted to call Epic Fury, I would haunt the fuck out of this dude for the rest of his existence. Epic fucking Fury. Get the fuck out of here. Fucking Chad.
Your dynamic thinking, the way you're attacking this. In just days of Operation Epic Fury, you and your team have delivered nothing short of devastating, precise strikes, taking out the better part of Iran's Navy, making it combat ineffective, neutralizing missile sites and launchers, and establishing total dominance over the skies we fly over and seas we fly over. Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively. This is the kind of no-nonsense, results-driven warfighting that America demands. And you're delivering it in spades. You are the man for this moment. Admiral Cooper, on behalf of the President, the Department of War, and every American watching, I want to thank you for the outstanding job you and CENTCOM are doing. Keep pressing the fight, and we are with you all the way. A few thoughts before I hand it over to the Admiral for an update. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. We remember and honor our fallen, those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them. But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that will be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the President and myself are maxed out. Our capabilities are overwhelming and gathering still, as are those of our Israeli partners. Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control. As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as we flow more forces, and as we flow more capabilities, and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects, we set the tempo.
He's so fucking cringe, dude.
Led by the commander on the ground. Our ear
probably fucking drunk right now
to listen to Admiral Cooper, what he needs, and what he needs he will get. We are built for this fight, and we are in it to win it.
Oh my God.
And we have the right commander in the lead. So I'll now hand it over to Admiral Brad Cooper to give you an update right here.
I physically cringe.
Secretary,
you know,
first,
I'm
thank you
not
very
just
much.
saying
Good
that.
afternoon, and welcome to U.S. Central Command headquarters, America's warfighting headquarters. It's great to be here alongside the Secretary and representing the more than 50,000 men and women in uniform currently executing Operation Epic Fury. So, Mr. Secretary, first, thank you very much for your leadership and support and the very clear vision and objectives that you've given us to allow us to use overwhelming force against the Iranian terrorist regime. And thanks to all of you for attending today, and welcome to Tampa. We are now starting our 6th day of a historic mission to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans. We are, if I could channel my inner Navy officer, we are at full speed ahead in executing orders given by leadership in Washington. The President and Secretary Hegseth have been crystal clear in their expectations, and we are at a high level of execution. As described by the Secretary and earlier this week by me, U.S. combat power is building as Iranian combat power declines. Our air dominance allows us to hit Iran's center of gravity with overwhelming power and reach. A couple of examples. In just the last 72 hours, America's bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets deep inside of Iran, including around Tehran. And in just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs, targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans. Then, if I just look back over the last 24 hours of the operation compared to where we were at start, ballistic missile attacks have decreased by 90% since day one. Drone attacks have decreased by 83% since day one. Having said this, we remain vigilant. Our strikes against the Iranian Navy have intensified. You may have heard the president say just a little while ago that we have
one thing I want you guys to be I want you guys to be like super aware of, if you're not. I mean, some of you might be. I don't mean to be like sound condescending here, but like in these situations, right? Like they're both sides are gonna be lying to us about everything. Sometimes it's not like I don't know, like when they throw out numbers on like the percentages and stuff. I mean, it's just there is, like, for example, on the American side, I've been doing like a lot of research, and I'll show you guys some of the stuff that I found where they're thinking there are a lot more than 3 to 6 people have died, you know, and it just based on other circumstantial evidence without bodies. And there are a lot of ways to hide casualties in war. There are different like designations, especially when it comes to like long-term injuries. There's a way to, like, you know, what is that term that they use for like brain injuries? I think Hassan talked about this too recently, about like, it's just like wartime casualty counts, which is like if you have like brain injuries, like massive brain injuries, they don't get counted the same way as like a casualty, which is interesting. You know, especially in situations where you might be in a coma or something, I guess. They're just not counted the same way. So there are ways, and again, like when he says numbers like 83% and 90%, like Iran is shooting thousands and thousands of missiles and drones, and there's shit that we don't even know. Like, I don't know how they come up with those numbers. For me, it sounds like bullshit. You know, CTE, a form of that. A form of that. I mean, it's like you know, like in Cuba and even in Venezuela, when they went and took Maduro, they said that they used something fucking weird that was making people's brains feel like it was like they were like puking, like there was some type of weapon, some brain injury weapon that they fucking, and who knows what they're using out there right now. And even it was used against Americans in Havana, I think, at one point. They call it the Havana syndrome, which is something. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so like those were casualties. That Havana syndrome, like some of them were okay, but like there were some that got really fucking hurt from whatever that was. And they're not considered casualties the way you would normally count casualties.
Upper destroyed 24 ships. That was true at the moment. We're now up over 30 ships.
And mind you guys, Israel's in Lebanon right now too. There's a ground force in Lebanon right now, and they're gonna create a buffer zone. Like, they are literally fucking everyone up. They are like carpet bombing Beirut and Tehran. These are massively dense cities. They are, at this point, I liken them. They are like an unleashed attack dog. Like they were the ones that forced the Iranian war. Like, if you listen to Marco Rubio said Israel, like, we knew Israel was going to attack Iran, and they've done this before in the middle of a nuclear negotiation. Israel is telling America, we're going to attack them. We don't give a fuck. We're going to attack them. Okay, so we're going to go. And then we decide, because we can't stop Israel from going, which is what we want people to believe, I guess, is like we can't stop Israel from attacking. So we need to preemptively strike the preemptive strike, which is a stupid fucking phrase anyway. Preemptive strike. The fuck out of here. It's just a strike. You just started a war, you know, a preemptive strike. So they preempted the preemptive strike because we knew Israel was going to attack, and to preempt the counterattack, because America knew that Iran was just going to attack America and not Israel because of all the bases in the Middle East. It was much shorter distance than shooting your good missiles at Israel. And they pulled us into that war just like that. You know? So it's scary because there is a level, again, there's always been like this kind of anti-Semitic thing about how, you know, Israelis own Americans, right? And then like a lot of other people would say, no, well, no, we own Israel. Israel is the 51st American state. That's something that I would say a lot too. But I'm not so sure I would consider them that anymore. They will take our weapons and use them and give us the battlefield data. But if we told them we didn't want them to do something that they wanted to do, I don't think they would listen to us anymore unless we cut them off. And that's where the scary thing, that's what's scary to me, that as this conflict keeps going and they notice that, fuck, more missiles are landing in Tel Aviv. Because these things, right, it's not just military targets either. It's not just civilian targets. We're talking like things like water desalination plants, right? Like the Middle East is, everyone talks about oil. It's the water that is a huge danger right now. Saudi Arabia has one desalinization plant that provides water for like 15 million people, and one Shahid drone can disable it. So things are really fragile out there. And the more Israelis see that they're not invincible, my fear is that the state of Israel will start doing crazier shit. And you ask, what's crazier than Gaza? Well, let's hope we don't fucking find out. Test content creation and war propaganda. Yeah, I do want to hear that sometime for sure.
And in just the last few hours, we hit an Iranian drone carrier ship, roughly the size of a World War II aircraft carrier. And as we speak, it's on fire. The president gave us another task: to raise or level Iran's ballistic missile industrial base. So we're not just hitting what they have, we're destroying their ability to rebuild. And so as we transition to the next phase of this operation, we will systemically dismantle Iran's missile production capability for the future, and that's absolutely
my friend was gonna punch this dude in the face, which would start a fight where my friend would get beat up. So I decided to punch the dude first instead. Yeah, no notes. I mean that's it. That's it. Just the whole preemptive thing is such fucking horseshit, dude. And they still think we fall for it. This is the funniest part.
This is going to take some time, but our forces are well supplied, as the secretary said, and we are absolutely ready to prosecute this mission decisively. Our combined joint forces have relentlessly destroyed Iran's air defenses over the past few days, and they've continued hunting for more systems to kill. Our air defenders are operating at the very top of their game. I couldn't be prouder, shoulder to shoulder with our partners in the region in many cases, providing the most integrated air defense network in Middle East history. We are fighting.
One Kuwaiti air pilot shot down 3 F-15s over Kuwait, by the way. The way he's talking. Hold on. And this is what Laura Loomer thinks about that. Oh, come on. Where is it? Fuck. I really should have these prepared, but they come up at the time. Is this okay? This is When is this from? This is from October. But she had a tweet, right? Where she's like why are we giving these Arabs these toys? Like, why are we giving these Kuwaitis these fucking toys when they're just using them on us? We should deport all Muslims from America. And it's like, oh my fucking God, dude. This is like imagine sitting in Qatar, right? Like between America and between Iran and Israel. And you got Laura Loomer like being like, yo, go drop a nuke on the fucking Middle East, man. Fuck these Kuwaitis. It's like so fucking crazy. Bye, Panda. Thanks for coming. Love you. You're the best. Have a good night. She was on a tirade these past few days over the Middle East, which is hilarious to me. All right, let's continue.
Through combined U.S. and Israeli combat power, we will continue decimating Iran's ability to project power outside its borders. And if I can just conclude by saying a strong salute to the brave men and women who are out on the pointy edge of this, really doing exceptional work. I just couldn't be prouder, and I know the American people share in that same pride. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll take a few questions. Yeah, right here.
The U.S. has asked for specific capabilities to do shed drones, Iranian drones. You guys talked about what you asked for. Has there been any surprise from Iranian capabilities that you guys have seen in the past 6 days?
We're very familiar with Iranian's capabilities, and as you might imagine, we planned for it right from the outset, and I feel good about what the plan was. Like any good organization, we adjust as necessary to meet the environment, and we made those appropriate adjustments. Absolutely. Right.
One, was an American pilot shot down today in Iraq? And two, I've heard reports that there's enriched uranium stored in Isfahan. I've also heard reports that there's not a lot of bombing there. Is that on purpose? Do we believe there's enriched uranium there? And would we ever send special forces to secure it?
As CENTCOM pointed out, that those reports of an F-15 being shot down are false. As you can imagine, Iran is doing everything it can to peddle in lies, deception, and inflation of numbers.
He's lying. He's lying. There were 3 F-15 shot down in Kuwait, and there was another F-15 shot down in Iraq as of a few hours ago. And the preliminary reporting on that is that it was shot down by Iranian anti-aircraft, and that Kuwaiti forces actually got into Iran before Iranians did and were able to get the pilots out safely into Saudi Arabia. They're lying about everything, you know? And I don't know why. I mean, it's like, I don't know. Maybe they know their audience, I guess.
In reality, mostly to propagandize to their own people, right? They've shut down the internet. They're hoping they can convince their own population that they're having success. One thing one of their leaders said recently is that 500 Americans have been killed, they claim. These are lies. The lies will continue. CENTCOM will continue to debunk.
Now, I wouldn't have believed, I think it's certainly more than 6 right now. I'll go on record saying that, okay? And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I think it's more than 6. I would have never believed it was 500 until this motherfucker said it. 500. Until this motherfucker dropped that number here, I would have never believed that number was possible. Now I think it might be. Sucks I feel that way. I mean, but they do not there's not a lot of confidence, I feel, in the way this fucker tells me anything, if I'm being honest.
Those lies. So, and as often is the case in conflict, first reports are often wrong. As it pertains to nuclear material and things like that, one of the objectives the president has always said is that Iran will not have a nuclear bomb, nuclear capabilities, but we would never disclose what we will or will not do inside operational plans. So Admiral Cooper's got a plan. We're working that plan, and targets will be struck or not struck according to what we want to achieve. Yeah, right there.
The president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objectives? Do you view it that way? And additionally, you spoke earlier today about how previous leaders have drawn resources from our hemisphere to the Middle East. How do you avoid that?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have. So there's no expansion in our objectives. We know exactly what we're trying to achieve. I think today's a great example.
Could they lie, though? Like, they would have to report a number, but could they lie?
Of what this War Department is capable of doing. I was just in another part of Florida today where we announced, America's counter cartel conference. 18 countries coming together from Central, South America, and the Caribbean, coming together to fight cartels.
Yeah, for sure, Andy.
That is ongoing.
100%.
We're focused in the Indo-Pacific. We can mass combat power In CENTCOM, UCOM is able to support that as well. So we know we're laser focused on our hemisphere and our homeland. That's why we lock down the border. That's why we're working with partners to take on cartels. That's why we're sinking drug boats. That's why we're on the offense there. But the beautiful things about combatant commands is that, Brad Cooper's laser focused on Central Command, just like Frank Donovan is laser focused on Southern Command. We can do both. That's what a global power can do. Ultimately, this issue of Iran's nuclear pursuit and their unwillingness through negotiations to stop it was something President Trump has said for a long time needs to be.
He's fucking lying. Like, what's the point of this? First of all, he's a fucking douchebag, okay? Like, there's never been a Department of Defense that, like, talks like this. Like a fucking slick-back, drunk, divorced dad douchebag. Like, I get, like, goddamn, like, if you were, like, a lifelong military guy, like, are you cool with this douchebag, God damn. It's like nails on a chalkboard. But he's lying. Okay, so let me just give you guys some details for those that don't know about what's going on with without going too far, without going into the Obama years. Okay, what was happening with this current nuclear deal was that we were in the middle of a negotiation with them. We were in the middle of a negotiation with Iran, okay? And this iteration of the deal was so much more concessions. Iran decided to give so much more concessions than they did in the last nuclear deal, okay? They agreed to everything we asked from them except to go jump off a fucking bridge, okay? And that was ultimately, even when Iran agreed to give up everything, we still pushed. We were like, okay, you must stop funding like Hezbollah. You must stop, really making decisions for the country, which I'm not saying they should be allowed. I'm not saying they should fund Hezbollah, but there was never a deal to be made here. There was never going to be a successful deal as long as Israel was involved. Israel would never have let a successful deal happen because it would have left Iran strong and in, one of the natural counterweights to Israel. Is it worth anything that all Iranians? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is the story of Iran and America is going to deserve more than this stream. One day I will go into one of these streams. I'll go into the true history of which started in the 20s. Okay. The true history of Iran and America started in the 20s and has just been one long story of paranoia between the two countries. And I never believed we would ever, in my lifetime, I never thought I'd see America attack Iran. I thought we were too smart for that as Americans. That's why Obama never attacked Iran. That's why Obama would make videos every Iranian New Year's. He didn't do that for any other group of people or foreign groups of people. Every time Persian New Year came, he did a video and sent it to the people of Iran and was like, we're with you. We're watching you on the streets. We're fighting in spirit with you. But it was always known as just a death trap if we ever attacked Iran, because you would just push the citizens back into the hands of the regime, the rally around the flag effect, right? One of the most frustrating things I see from people when something like this happens is oh yeah, Iranians in Iran are out on the street celebrating. We will never know what it's like with bombs dropping next door to you. Okay, if you're in northern Iran and bombs are dropping in southern Iran and you're celebrating, sure, you might as well be in fucking Timbuktu. But there ain't no Iranians inside Tehran that are not terrified and celebrating right now. Because if they were that, they would be psychotic. It is a psychotic thought that you would step outside of your house and celebrate your neighbors getting bombed, no matter how much you hated Trump, okay? And your neighbor was a Trump voter. and your neighbor got a fucking Patriot missile into their living room, you wouldn't go outside and start dancing, my friend. You'd probably run the fuck away, I would imagine. I don't know, just guessing. I've never lived in a war zone, so I'm not going to make weird assumptions on what people would do when bombs are dropping on top of them, you know? So, I just think it's very important to know that when things are like propagandized like that, like all of that talk is coming from outside of Iran. All of that shit, all of that like bomb Iran is coming from outside of Iran, not from anyone inside of Iran.
He dealt with. And after 47 years, he's doing something that no other president was willing to do. And we're doing it overwhelmingly, and we're doing it decisively, while also in other parts of the globe having the desired effects. I mean, take, for example, what we displayed yesterday, the Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, sunk by Indo-PACOM, another combatant command who coordinated with us in order to make that happen. So America's reach is global. Our focus here, these missions are narrow, they're scoped, and Admiral Cooper is well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Right here, yes, sir.
Do the Ukrainians talk about
Who claimed that? Give me your sources. Go ahead. We can go ahead. Show your sources. Of course, some Iranians celebrated in Iran. If you heard what I said, if you are in northern Iran, okay, yeah, New York Times, manufactured consent for another invasion of a Middle Eastern country. I'll repeat myself for you, brother. If you are in northern Iran, okay, because everyone hates the regime. Everyone hates the regime. Okay, even in Tehran. Tehran is humongous. There's like fucking tens of millions of people in Tehran, okay? If you see bombs dropping on your neighbors, it's Islamophobic for you to say that their neighbors are out there celebrating, because you would never do that. You wouldn't do that. No, I'm not just saying stuff. I'm Iranian American. I have a master's in international politics. You are the random in here. I am the one that actually has family in Iran. So you can get fucked for all I care. But if you want to have a conversation about why you're seeing Iranians celebrate in Iran, it's true, because Iranians are not a monolith.
Pete Hegseth and CENTCOM Command.
When the New York Times tells you Iranians are celebrating in Iran, it doesn't mean that 100% or even 50% of Iranians are celebrating in Iran. That's not how this works. So, like, most people, I'm going to say this for anyone that's confused about this, most people, 100%, I would say, not 100%, let's say 90% of the Iranian diaspora, whether they're inside of Iran or outside of Iran, okay, they wanted to see Khamenei die, including me. We all did. He was a terrible person, okay? That part is true. It unified us. But what do we want to see come next? That's where we're all split up. The people who are celebrating in Iran, a majority of those people that you see, they're Shah supporters, because they're also Israel supporters. They want Israel to come in and decapitate the Iranian government, and they don't care how many Iranians die for that to happen. And it's a trauma response. I don't hold that against them, because the Islamic Republic has been terrible to the Iranian people, and they need to go. And I think, again, the problem I have, okay, is that America and Israel are not liberators, okay? Like, I can be happy that Khamenei is dead, but I'm unhappy that people think that America and Israel have a habit of liberating people and not flattening them like they did to Gaza. So my biggest fucking fear in the world, bro, let Pahlavi come back and be the king forever. I don't care, okay? Just don't turn Iran into Gaza. Please, I'm begging you. I'm begging you. You know, you care about Iranians, Nolan Richardson, and their happiness. Please, for the love of God, stop carpet bombing Tehran, because Iranians need to live there still after this is all over. Who's gonna pay to rebuild all of that stuff? America? Israel? No, Iranians will. So can you please tell your leaders to stop bombing airports and hospitals. That's all I want. Is that controversial? Should that be controversial for any Iranian to say? No. And if an Iranian is telling you they want to see their schools bombed, I would be very fucking weary of those people. Because it's not normal. It's not human. It's not in our DNA to be like that, really. Hopefully.
Admiral Brad Cooper holding a news conference.
Good
Let's watch.
afternoon. I'm honored to stand right here today alongside one of America's finest, Admiral Brad Cooper, commander of U.S. Central Command. We just had a chance to spend a couple of hours together, better part of 2 hours.
Yeah, right now, if you look at the news right now, there are hundreds of thousands of people, pro-regime people, out on the streets right now. I'm not bringing them up as some anecdotal piece of argument. You know, a lot of those people are fucking organized by the government too. I get that, but I'm not gonna fucking sit here and pretend they don't exist or that they make up the entire country. You know, it's just so silly. Especially, I love it when like it's like Nolan Richardson from fucking Kansas City like wants to tell me that I'm just saying stuff. It's so it's just. But this is the world we live in.
The entirety of this.
Tell the Iranian he doesn't know what he's talking about.
And Admiral, I want to thank you for everything you do and your incredible leadership, your dynamic thinking, the way you're attacking this problem set on every level. In just days of Operation Epic Fury, you and your team have delivered nothing short of devastating, precise strikes, taking out the better part of Iran's Navy, making it combat ineffective, neutralizing missile sites and launchers, and establishing total dominance over the skies we fly over and seas we fly over. Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively. This is the kind of no-nonsense, results-driven warfighting that America demands. And you're delivering it in spades. You are the man for this moment. Admiral Cooper, on behalf of the President, the Department of War, and every American watching, I want to thank you for the outstanding job you and CENTCOM are doing. Keep pressing the fight, and we are with you all the way. A few thoughts before I hand it over to the Admiral for an update. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. We remember and honor our fallen. Those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them. But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper.
We're going to be in another fucking forever. They are going to turn Iran into Gaza. It's already happening. I mean, they bombed Freedom Square. They bombed soccer stadiums. They're bombing hospitals. They're bombing schools. And again, what you're going to end up doing, and what they're going to do is they've already talked about, like, they're going to fund the Kurds. And this is going to be really hard to talk about without a map. I'll talk about this in another stream. The next stream I do, when we talk about the history of Iran, we'll talk about the Kurds too, which is a very big part of this equation, which you'll probably hear about them a lot, about how the CIA is about to start funding them for like a ground force in Iran, because you will not be able to overthrow this government in full without a ground force. You can't just do it with planes. That's what people have been telling the American government forever. So they can't send in Americans, right? Because we would fucking fillet them. So they're going to need a ground force, and it's going to be, sadly, the Kurds probably, who have been fucked over by Western forces forever. You know, so I'm not sure if they'll even listen, you know, because they're not exactly trusting of the American government right now. But the Kurds exist in the area that makes up the country, like where the countries of Turkey and Iran and Iraq all border each other. That area and Syria is the Kurds. That's like the autonomous Kurdish zone. And every one of those countries hates the Kurds, but refuses to give them their own country. Even though they're probably the most democratic, they're the most, you know, forward thinking, they have a female fighting force that is one of the best in the world. They actually would go after ISIS fighters, like female Kurd fighters, PKK fighters would go. They had forces that were dedicated going after ISIS terrorists. They were like pretty legendary. But yeah, They just formed a coalition for the first time in whatever amount of time. The 4 major Kurdish groups, who there's always going to be infighting between the Kurds too, but they have put down their guns against each other, which is fucking crazy. Which, you know, that's another force that we don't really hear much about that have a lot of sway in that area. And, you know, countries like Turkey will get involved in Iraq because they do not want to see the Kurds. So this is scary, right? Because when America says they're going to fund the Kurds, Turkey hates that. Turkey does not want to fucking hear that. Turkey thinks the Kurds are a bunch of terrorists, right? So, or Turkey, I should say. Turkey is how you say it now.
If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the president and myself are maxed out.
Oh wait, did I go backwards in this?
Gathering
Hold on a second.
as are those it was willing to do, and we're doing it overwhelmingly and we're doing it decisively.
I went backwards. Hold on.
Is that on purpose? Do we believe
Yeah,
there's
sorry.
sharing in there? And would we ever send special forces?
I was wondering why I was like at the beginning. I was like, did we only go through like a minute and a half of this? No
Is this
way.
an expansion of your military objectives?
Their bomb nuclear capabilities, but we would never disclose what we will or will not do inside operational plans. So Admiral Cooper's got a plan. We're working that plan, and targets will be struck or not struck according to what we want to achieve. Yeah, right there.
So the president said earlier today in an interview that he would like to have a say in who's the next leader of Iran. Is this an expansion of your military objectives? Do you view it that way? And additionally, you spoke earlier today about how previous leaders have drawn resources from our hemisphere to the Middle East. How do you avoid that?
Well, there's no expansion. Ultimately, I think the president's having a heck of a say in who runs Iran, given the ongoing operation we have.
He's
no
so
expansion in our
fucking
objectives. We know
smug,
exactly what we're trying to
bro.
achieve.
Like,
I think today's a great example of what this War Department is capable of
hate
doing.
it.
I was just in another part of Florida today where we announced, America's
The ultimate
counter-cartel
DEI
conference.
hire, which
18
is
countries
the
coming together
funniest
from
part.
Central, South
I'm no
America,
fan of
Caribbean,
Democrats,
coming together
but like
to
when you
fight
talk
cartels.
about
That is
fucking
something that is ongoing. We're focused there. We're focused
DEI
on mass
hires,
combat
man,
power.
it doesn't get much
CENTCOM,
more
EUCOM is able to
DEI than
support that
this.
as well. So we know we're laser focused on our hemisphere and our homeland. That's why we lock down the border. That's why we're working with partners to take on cartels. That's why we're sinking drug boats. That's why we're on the offense there. But the beautiful things about combatant commands is that, Brad Cooper's laser focused on Central Command, just like Frank Donovan is laser focused on Southern Command. We can do both. That's what a global power can do. Ultimately, this issue of Iran's nuclear pursuit and their unwillingness through negotiations to stop it was something President Trump has said for a long time needs to be dealt with. And after 47 years, he's doing something that no other president was willing to do. And we're doing it overwhelmingly and we're doing it decisively, while also in other parts of the globe having the desired effects. I mean, take, for example, what we displayed yesterday, the Iranian ship in the Indian Ocean, sunk by Indo-PACOM, another combatant command, who coordinated with us in order to make that happen. So America's reach is global. Our focus here, though, these missions are narrow, they're scoped, and Admiral Cooper is well on his way to ensuring that we reach those objectives. Right here, yes, sir.
Do the Ukrainians talk about providing low-cost interceptors, given their experience? That's something that.
I wonder if they'll talk about the interceptor shortage.
A little bit about how effective the Lucas drones have been, what kind of targets we hit, and how much that's helped, given that they're low-cost alternative to the more expensive.
Sure.
Oh, they're talking
I'm
about
not
that
familiar
now.
with the particular offer, but the interceptors in general, we've had a number of new capabilities being fielded. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about it from an operational perspective of what those are, but I think you have seen over a period of time us kind of get on the other side of this cost curve on drones in general. If I just walk back a couple of years, you remember what you used to always hear? We're shooting down a $50,000 drone with a $2 million missile. These days, we're spending a lot of time shooting down.
That's literally what I just told you guys. That's still happening. That's still happening. What do you mean 2 years ago? That's happening now. The Shawheads are like 50,000 a pop. You're dropping like 2 to 4 million. There was one fucking battle where there was like $500 million in that fucking battle because you were shooting 6 of these fucking missiles at every one of these $20,000 bathtub rockets, dude. Like, what the fuck are you talking about 2 years ago? It's happening right now. Holy shit, bro.
$100,000 drones with $10,000 weapons from ours. So that's one aspect. Lucas, indispensable. As many of you know, and if you don't know, this was an original Iranian drone design. We captured it, pulled the guts out, sent it back to America, put a little Made America on it, brought it back here, and we're shooting it at the Iranians. Good targets.
Good targets.
Did they just say they took Iranian drone technology and are using it against them? I guess they're pretty good at making drones. I mean, one of the things I actually read, yeah, that's fucking crazy. There's no shortage. Oh, check this out, bro. I fucking hate this. Okay, this is something I really hate because Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine. You should know better, bro. But Ukraine's got its own battle to fight and is trying to survive. So Ukraine is offering to help America with interceptor drones. Okay, and I don't know how else to take this, but that this is another embarrassing look for us. Like we need Ukraine's help, and it's because of the current war front between Ukraine and Russia and the kind of drone warfare that they're having. It's evolved, like the evolution of tech. That's the front line of drone technology and anti-drone technology, right? So I rip on America a little bit, but America hasn't really had a need for anti-drone technology to this point. And Ukraine has kind of perfected that. So, I mean, that seems like a natural, and not like Ukraine has a choice here, okay? I don't mean to put this at the feet of Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't fucking have a choice here, okay? They're not going to say no to daddy because they still need our help to defend themselves. Yes, exactly, Carter. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what happens. That's what happens when you have a theater of war. And I'm not a military expert. I have my master's is in conflict resolution. But in the theater of war, this is what happens. Like you can't take an aircraft carrier to every fucking battle. It's not feasible. And the way that this kind of guerrilla type of warfare has been happening between Ukraine and Russia has developed into drone warfare, just complete drone warfare. So that's like the front line of that. And again, I ribbed Ukraine, but Ukraine doesn't have a choice here. Okay, like if America is asking Ukraine for something, they have to do it, or we'll be like, fuck off. Okay, Russia, here you go.
Absolutely. Right there.
Thank you so much, Secretary. President Trump, in his first speech after the launch of the Operation Epic Fury, he addressed Iranian people and he said that there is going to be a time for you to come out, but it's not now. Stay home. It's not safe. I want to know if there is a timeline for that you're going to urge Iranian people to come out, how that is going to play out, and how are you going to protect the protesters? You know that they're going to be shot probably, as we witnessed in January. That's what happened.
He's asking a very good question, which is like, you guys are telling Iranians to hit the streets, but how the fuck are they supposed to hit the streets when you're carpet bombing Iran is pretty much what she's asking. How can you maintain their protection?
In schools, in hospitals, in purely residential areas, because their headquarters are bombarded, they are ruined.
Oh, Carter. Let me take this. We are in World War III. Now, let's take for granted that we are. Let's take for granted that we are in World War III. Every world war wasn't named during the time. They didn't know they were in it, And if we in like a year, if we look back on now and we do say, you know what, we were in World War III, we absolutely were, or whatever, then we'll name it after the fact and we'll look for the first salvo. Like people always talk about civil war all the time. Like, is there a civil war going on in America? And I would say the first fire, if you talk about like, if we're in a civil war, the first shot fired was when the federal government decided to send federal forces into California. I think that is a declaration of war. It's always been a declaration of war in America when that's what Republicans would say about Democrats, right? Obama, he's going to take the FEMA camps. He's going to round up all the Republicans, going to round up all your guns and stick you in FEMA camps. They were just telling us, they were vice signaling to us what they wanted to do. So ultimately, I think if you're going to call a spade, I don't know what a start of a war is outside of like a federal force invading a blue state, not just any state, right? Like went into California, one of the bluest states that did not ask for it to go there, So same thing with this. And when you talk about, again, world war, what is a world war? What do you consider a world war? I would say when there is a whole bunch of countries firing shit at each other, and it looks like that's where we are. I mean, even outside of this theater, Russia, Ukraine, you talk about whatchamacallit, Sudan, what's going on in Sudan. The UAE is supporting the genocide in Sudan. Yes, the same UAE that is, I'm sorry, UAE and Qatar are supporting the genocide in Sudan. The same people who are the negotiators for the genocide in Gaza. India and Pakistan had a tiff. Cambodia and Thailand had a tiff. We are lasering fucking Venezuelan ships. We we kidnapped their president. We are hitting Ecuador right now. Actually, believe it or not, guys, our military is bombing Ecuador. Cartels, or so they say. So I think this is, I don't know what else you would consider a world war at this point. I just think we haven't named it yet. We haven't counted all the bodies. There isn't a new world order yet, but it sure feels that we are showing our hand, that we want out of the world order. The world order we built after World War II that gave us all these goodies, all the things that we took for granted, smashed the rest of the world with it instead of trying to make the world better. And it's all coming back now. That imperial boomerang, again, spent decades coming back to America. Now the military industrial complex is coming back here, and it's in the form of ICE.
So how are you going to protect the civilians while you're attacking the IRGC people hard? Thank you.
I just found the protests, obviously the Iranian people showed a lot of courage in those protests. And we saw the Iranian regime was revealed for what it is in the way they reacted to that. The world saw that. No one's done more than President Trump to reopen the opportunity for those who want a free Iran to do so. Ultimately, it's common sense, as he said up front. Don't go out and protest while bombs are dropping inside Tehran and elsewhere. So there will come.
Did you just hear this motherfucker? Hold up. Oh my God. Let's slow this bitch down. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind, dude.
While bombs are dropping inside Tehran and
IRGC commanders, they are now gathering, going to protect the civilians while you're attacking the IRGC people hard. Thank you.
I would just say on the protests, obviously the Iranian people showed a lot of courage in those protests. And we saw the Iranian regime was revealed for what it is in the way they reacted to that. The world saw that. No one's done more than President Trump to reopen the opportunity for those who want a free Iran to do so. Ultimately, it's common sense, as he said up front. Don't go out and protest while bombs are dropping inside Tehran and elsewhere. So there will.
And I think this is what I mean when there's this kind of tinge of Islamophobia. When shit like this is said, you would never say this to anyone, and you shouldn't accept this as a fucking answer from the Minister of Defense of any fucking country, okay? That use common sense, don't protest when there's bombs dropping in Tehran. Well, no shit, McKeg's breath. The fuck are you talking about? Are you gonna tell us when you're gonna bomb Tehran? Can you try not carpet bombing Tehran? So if we do decide to not go outside, that you won't fucking flatten us in our houses. Let me remind you guys, the civilians that they are killing in Iran are statistically anti-regime. We are killing our allies. We are killing our friends. Statistically, if they are a civilian, they are anti-Islamic regime, and you are killing them. The people you are telling to stay in their houses, so you won't kill them. You're still killing them. And that's how you turn a population against you. That's how you'll start slowly. I'll give you guys just an really quick anecdotal story. My family is pretty split on this. My core 4 family members. I am very anti-regime, anti-Shah, anti-Pahlavi. My mom is very pro-Shah and anti-regime. She thinks the Shah is going to help everyone. So we debate this. And my dad is the perfect example of what's happening to some Iranians right now. My dad, much like a lot of other Iranians, most other Iranians, hated the regime, hates the IRGC, hates Khamenei, whatever. Celebrated when Khamenei died, just like we all did. And 5 or 6 days later now, my dad is telling me that he's getting frustrated. He's getting frustrated because what I said before, Iran is still a place Iranians have to live. Like, I know it is so sexy to think that you are bringing freedom and democracy to people, okay? But like the whole point of bringing freedom and democracy to people is like you want to let them live in the country still. You don't want to flatten it, destroy everything that they have, and be like, here's your freedom, brother. You know? And I think that's the nuance here that people don't understand. And I have to explain this to my mom that, like, they are flattening Tehran. Like, and there's a bit of cognitive dissonance. There's like hope, right? Where like my mom, she sees images of Gaza and she's like, that won't happen to Iran. And it's not just her. There are a lot of Iranians that are under this spell that like they're different, that this time it will be different, you know, as I'm telling them that a school full of 180 girls was killed and, you know, the hospital was double tap strike. And, you know, that like, this is just like, and it's so sad watching, you know, and I just know that if this continues, people like my dad are going to go back into the arms of the regime. Iranians that are very anti-regime are ultimately going to be like, they are fucking killing all of us. You know, when the regime killed us, at least they didn't destroy our hospitals and schools at the same time. They just hung us. Seriously, it's going to get back to that. You know, because people aren't animals. And there's this, again, it's one of the most frustrating experiences talking to anyone that's like, Iranians are on the streets of Iran celebrating. All of them are. And it's like, did you talk to all of them? Because the girls that died in that school, they'll never be able to celebrate. That was probably the first bomb they ever, you know, that country had ever seen. Or at least in the last 30, 40, 50 years, you know, since the Iran-Iraq war, which was devastating for Iran.
There will come a moment where they determine that it's the time to seize that advantage. But there's a lot of things we're doing and the Israeli military is doing, targeting those individuals who are targeting those who protest. The more you do that and you erode their will and you erode their capabilities, the more you create an opportunity for people to boldly stand up.
Yeah, I would just reinforce the point. We're targeting the people. We're targeting the headquarters and the people who are targeting the protesters, you know, first and foremost. I'd also just double down on the president's comments that he previously made to the people. Stay in your homes, keep things calm, you know, stay out of the way.
I'm just going to finish up this video. I always go longer than I want to, but, you know, time flies when you're having fun, right? You know what I'm saying? I'll probably be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to come on. I'm going to try to be on here regularly so we can hang out.
Right here.
No pressure for you guys to hang out with me, but just so you know, we're going to try to make this more regular, these streams.
In the past has been taking in thousands of refugees into the American homeland, and I'm wondering if there's any safeguards put in place to make sure that the American people aren't having to have another wave of refugees from the Middle East or anywhere else come and stay here.
I think it's safe to say there's no plan for a wave of new Middle Eastern refugees to the United States of America. I think as the president has pointed out for a long time, there are a lot of countries in the region who would be capable of providing that kind of support if need be. But that's certainly not something we're planning on.
Yeah. They were hiding in the tunnels. Yes, that was such bullshit when that spread. But it lasted like less than a day. That rumor, that bullshit propaganda lasted for less than a day, thankfully.
Did the British decision to refuse Diego Garcia have any impact on the mission itself? Did you have to adjust, or were you able to just completely, go with the mission without even worrying about that?
Well, as the president stated, it was unfortunate that the Brits didn't from day one say, "Hey, go ahead and have access," but we got there. We got there, and that's now part of the way that we're operationalizing bomber runs, and that's part of when we say more to come. It's more fighter squadrons, it's more capabilities, it's more defensive capabilities. and it's more bomber pulses more frequently. The amount of firepower over Iran and over Tehran.
Like the way he's just smirking while he says it, it's like, yeah. There is a pervasive sickness in this government and its supporters right now. It's like just the way, it's like just the tone. It's the tone of explaining how you're bringing billions of dollars of hardware into an area to start using on civilians. Like a video game or something, you know.
Is about to surge dramatically. And part of it is
Yes,
that we're going to have even more bases.
yeah,
And it's
indeed,
not
for
just
sure.
the UK. We've had other friends step up, and we're grateful for that. Maybe one more right here.
Yeah, the Azeri president earlier today basically authorized his Minister of Defense to begin preparing troops for some type of retaliatory action after the airport strike. Has the Department of War and CENTCOM been working on deconflicting with the Azeri if they were to move in or attempt something in retaliation?
I'm sure there are plans, and I'll let the Admiral speak to that. But I that does allow me to kind of address this idea that the war might be expanding, or there's chaos, and nothing could be further from the truth. If anything, what Iran is doing by targeting allied countries that would otherwise want to stay out of this, they've actually pulled them into the American orbit. So now you've got UAE and Qatar.
The reason Iran has attacked all of these Arab countries, by the way, which he's not mentioning, specifically, they're attacking American assets in those countries. They're not just wildly shooting into Arab countries. Again, Iran, as much as I, tell people that like Iranians are not a monolith, et cetera, and as much as I'm like people who are like Iranian supremacists, I don't like that either, but Iranians are very shrewd. They're very intelligent. We have, by ethnicity, I think we have the most post-secondary graduates in the world. Iran suffers from the most brain drain of any country in the world, meaning that like all the best talent in Iran leaves and goes to Western countries, like the best doctors, the best surgeons, the best lawyers, the best anything, engineers, and they're good at everything. So they end up going and taking that money that they would have made for Iran. That's called brain drain. New Hampshire suffers from a lot of brain drain to Massachusetts, for example, right? Massachusetts offers much better lifestyle stuff. It might be a little bit more expensive, but you get more stuff in Massachusetts. That's why we lose a lot of our best social workers, our healthcare workers to a place like Massachusetts. That would be considered domestic brain drain or New Hampshire brain drain. That's Iran suffers from the highest or the second highest by like quantifiable money. They assess it by money. So we're not stupid. Like they're not just gonna fucking fire shots at Saudi Arabia because they can. They would only do that as if they were on their way out. Then they would probably, if they're gone, they're just gonna act out and shoot at everyone. Maybe, I don't know. But like the reason they're shooting at these Arab countries is because they are specifically housing American assets, or their official launching points of American assets. And furthermore, you've probably heard reporting on them targeting hotels. It's funny how it works when Israel kind of uses the human shield conversation all the time. Hamas is using human shields. Well, guess what? Americans decided to move their troops from the Qatari airbase to some of these hotels. So Iran started targeting the hotels. Sounds like they're using human shields to me. I don't know. Using the same fucking logic, Not condoning shooting at hotels. That is still a war crime. It is still against Geneva Conventions. I expect the same thing. I'm not gonna like, condemn Israel for it and not condemn Iran for it. It's not right. But it's a bit of getting a taste of your own fucking medicine here. That's all this is here.
In Bahrain and Saudi and Kuwait and others saying, hey, we're with you. we'll shoot with you, we'll fly with you, we'll defend with you. We'll
or we'll shoot you
basing
down. In the case of
other
Kuwait,
a lot of which,
dude, they
we
should
can't talk
fucking
about
get
and won't
that.
talk about,
That
but
guy's a
it's actually
Kuwaiti legend
firming
now.
up
You
the
know that,
unity
right?
of
In the
resistance
halls
in
of the
order to focus
Kuwaiti Air
exactly
Force,
where we
they're
need
gonna
to.
build
So
a
this
statue to
idea
that
that
guy.
it's
Do you
expanding or
think
going,
any
it's
Middle
actually,
Eastern pilot will
actually
ever
simplifying in a number
shoot
of ways
down
exactly
3
what we
American
need to achieve
pilots,
and
let
how we
alone
achieve
in
that?
one
I
fucking
won't-
flight?
I won't get out of
Please,
ahead of
they're gonna
policy in
make
terms of what
fucking
we might do.
albums to
What I
that
would point out
guy,
is
fucking
this is now the
big
12th
museums to that
country,
guy
that
in
Iran
Kuwait.
has attacked. 12 countries.
Fuck it,
have
in the
been
Middle
attacked
East
at the first
probably.
point. Those 12 countries are none too happy, and I look forward to working with all the partners who are willing to join us in this.
And I would just close by saying,
what is your message to Americans who are concerned about security here at home with the change up that we're going to see at the Department of Homeland Security?
well, I think Kristi Noem did an excellent job over there securing our border and keeping us focused on threats, and the president making a change. We all serve at the pleasure of the president.
I said she did so good, we had to get rid of her, you know? Which is funny, isn't it crazy? And I don't think it's a coincidence that like all these faces of like the worst departments of America, they put women in charge. Like, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be in those leadership, but like almost like they hate women so much that they're just gonna put them in the fucking like they're gonna be the heads that roll, you know, like the Pam Bondi, fucking putting that deer in headlights. Talk about a sacrificial lamb, you know? Like, how much do you guys hate women? Unbelievable.
I don't have any concerns about whether or not the homeland will be covered down on. And I'll just end by saying I wish every American could get a chance to see what we see. I had a chance to go into the control room, into the Tactical Operations Center, go see these young men and women that are doing this, the dedication that they show at every level, the way they've refined their craft. Now, I'm talking to a young colonel who's iterating on how we target and how we find and fix different aspects of what the Iranians are trying to do. If they don't know what they're up against. And
bro, it's Iran. What do you mean they don't know what they're up against? It's not China. Like, it's fucking Iran. Like, we look so bad. We look so weak. Oh, Iran has no idea what they're in for. You know, like, it's fucking Iran, bro. It's like under some of the worst sanctions ever. They are owning you with bathtub rockets. Be for fucking real.
If they think they've got it solved for, they're wrong. And ultimately, the combination of our ingenuity, the skill, the professionalism, the discipline, and then the sheer weight of the capabilities of the U.S.
Is he trying to convince us?
What
Like,
you're going to see may look routine. It might start to be like, oh, another boat. Oh, another launcher. Oh, another drone facility. What it takes to do this.
Oh, target acquired. Oh, another car. Oh, another boat. Another boat in Venezuela. Laser, the drug boat. Venezuela. Oh, a school. Oh, hospital. You fucking cuck.
With the precision that we do is world-class. No one else can do it. And it's world-class America.
It makes me so mad.
Like the ones I saw here, like the ones that are coming home that we're going to greet home, that are the engine of what makes our country great. And so I'm so grateful for folks like those here at CENTCOM, at Central Command, who are under your command. Thank you for your decisive leadership. And all I'll say to you is what I say to them, keep going.
Venezuelans shall reach
the president
agreement.
and myself, we have your back.
Is this
Be
true?
sure to like and
Let's find out. Let's do a quick fact check before we end this stream. God damn, it is true. Let's see. Thing with the problem with but like the problem here, it's exploration, but the problem is Venezuelan crude is like not good. It's gonna take years and billions of dollars just to start making it usable. So I mean, I I hope it works out. I hope we get something for it. Yeah, probably not. But I think we're going to end it here, friends. We went for like 2.5 hours here. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow night. I appreciate you guys coming by. Remember, March 10th, elections, local town elections. Don't forget. And we got the special election in Autopsy in Carroll County. If you know people up there, make sure they show up and vote. What the U.S. wants is a monopoly preventing China from buying oil from Venezuela. Yeah, I mean that's absolute. I mean, yeah, that's if you were to at least on a macro level look at the moves in Venezuela and now what's happening in Iran. Absolutely, I mean those are two of the main suppliers of China, if not the main suppliers of China. So it's absolutely well thought out scenario there. But yeah, exactly, Carter. But yeah, turn on your notifications. I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll do this again. We're gonna do a real historical breakdown of Iran from the early 1900s. Okay, so we get really figure out because Iran is complicated, man. There's a lot of shit going on in Iran, and there's a lot of history. So that's going to require its own stream. All right, guys. Love you guys. Thanks for coming. Be safe. Be good. And be kind to each other. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for the follow, Luca. Hopefully see you tomorrow, brother.